Elizabeth, hi.
Buzz, it's great to see you again. It's been a couple of years, and we're really glad you're here at Reflectel Mirror TV. We're here in Tribeca, and that's Hudson Street ground floor. So welcome, and we'll give you a quick tour about and around our space.
A lovely space you've got here. Let's take a look.
So why don't we start with this guy over here? This is Samsung in the frame, and I like to show this one off because it's an incredible Italian carved frame, and you can go in close and see the carving and how beautiful it is. And then while you're doing that, I can't help myself but turn off the lights so you have a better view of how the television looks. Because here at Reflectel, we're a fine art framing facility, so our lighting controls are meant for artwork. And as I like to say, there's a reason why they sell televisions in the basement at Best Buy. But come on in, I can show you a few more things. This guy over here, you can have a nice close-up, is one of our industrial steel frames, and it's good fun. Oh, by the way, I forgot to show you. TV went on and mirror went off.
Oh my.
Oh wait, that's Samsung. You have to hold it twice.
Yes,
You
remote
get the
controls.
idea.
The televisions and the mirrors are beautiful. The remote controls, oh well.
Yes, exactly.
It's the bane of everyone's existence, the remote
Exactly.
control.
You'll hear everyone here saying, "Where's the remote? Where's the remote?" Just like they do in your homes.
Absolutely.
So this year, we might as well take it on an angle to take advantage of this gorgeous vantage, which is our circle. And this is beautiful hand-stitched leather. And this particular model, a fiery red, has a belt and buckles and straps and these little tack heads. So everything can be customized,
Very
any
nice.
color leather. And here we go again. TV went on and the mirror went off. And there you are, Buzz. Something that I do for clients, because it's really important when you have the Mirror TV, that you have lighting controls and window treatments. So when we're working with a designer or an AV integrator, this is usually a conversation anyhow. But if we have a homeowner, they need to know about this also. So I'm going to invite you in to take a look. This is a pretty good example here where you can just come over my right shoulder, Buzz. You can kind of see the storefront window there. You
Yes.
see it says fine art framing.
We see
And then
that.
I take this kind of semi-transparent curtain, and that's all you need to get rid of the light. So
Oh,
just
fantastic.
a minor amount of lighting controls and window treatments. And of course, a fun video,
Absolutely. Yes.
which I think is Nemo.
Yes, it is.
So if you close up on this television, you can see that that's a beautiful white gold frame. And this is one of our bespoke models. So if you look from the side, here you can see it's beautifully coped for the wall.
Lovely.
And it can be any painted color.
Fantastic.
As we're walking through our beautiful hallway, you can notice all of our antique frames because, as noted, we are 39 years in fine art framing, art restoration, and antique frame restoration. This is a cute little 43. It's a good one to take a look at because it's our signature series. So you'll see a little miter, but the price point is much less.
Right.
And from the side, you can take a look here. I'm actually looking at this for a client as we speak, and they love it. So you get the beautiful side and the face of the frame. We were talking before about our leathers, and you can see here a beautiful complement of leather styles, because really the AV integrator is the technology. We enhance it.
Yes, absolutely.
A few things to talk about from a technology standpoint is that our Mirror TVs are edge to edge, and that's because we're framers, so we actually route out to cover the television bezel. And unless you're a framer, no one's doing that. So you don't have to have the mirror pillow around. People love that. And this is a gorgeous Cortina leather that, as you can see, it's so big and wide, and it's our newest profile called the Swoop.
Very nice. So with your knowledge and expertise in framing, highlighting art, you're making the television like art. Because little design details that you know that the average TV framer wouldn't.
And I have to say, the design industry trade press is very interested in promoting this intersection between design and technology because truly AV integrators don't always speak the same language as a designer, and I do. This is a very design-heavy product, concealing technology.
Yes.
They can handle the technology, the back boxes, the wall mounts, the wiring, all that good stuff. We're always here to support their ideas. In fact, we generally, if it's getting a future automation mount, we'll tell them which model. If they're going to recess something in the wall, we'll give them the cavity dimension. They don't have to be involved in any of that or the design. So we truly do feel that we are at that intersection point. And you can understand, after having 39 years of frame experience, that one cannot grasp that in just a few years.
Yes.
Just a couple of frames here, because it can just go on and on, I do confess. We would be remiss in not showing off some of our beautiful 16th and 17th century frames. We have some Dutch frames here, beautiful Spanish frame, Scandinavian, and arts and crafts. It's pretty spectacular.
Yeah, that's stunning.
Something else that Reflectel is starting to do, which we did win the Technology Designer
Yes.
Magazine Award for Best Design, is our television and soundbar frame, no mirror.
No mirror.
And this was, get this, designed to match the client's Ferrari. So
There you
if
go.
you have a beautiful car and you want to match your car seats, we could absolutely do that.
With that bespoke stitching, just like the seats in the vehicle. Huh?
Yes, sir.
How about that? That's great.
And here you can see the entire television is floated. We can also, and we are in fact currently doing a job where the frame, for example here, right, crops over the technology. And sound bars can either be extra to the frame right here, and you can pick your own soundbar fabric, or we can embed them behind a Mirror TV.
Right, so depending on the soundbar, the AV integrator will specify that. They'll provide you the architectural specs. You could build a frame to accommodate certain brand or size of soundbar.
And fact being that when there's an AV integrator, there's almost always an incredible speaker system. So usually sound bars, it's an afterthought, or for the client that's just like, I just don't want it for this particular room. Someone just recently showed me these tiny little K-array speakers, and wow, like, so we're up on all this stuff, and we love to come up with ways to embed them into our frames, because the crazier it gets, the more excited my production manager and I get. So
There you go.
we're a little nuts that way.
Now, that's the creative side of things. Have fun with that.
This here is a real showstopper. It's a rounded corner, leather, Mirror TV frame, in this case with a little gilded lip. And I must plug one of the designers who has helped make this such a superstar model, Penny Drew Baird, who recently launched her book Powerhouse, and Reflectel Mirror TVs in her book.
Excellent.
So we are so happy. This beauty here, as you can see, has the rounded corners, so we have the Mirror TV pillow around it. So what we say to people is, that's what you get here. This is a 55. We tend to go for the Samsung QN90 series,
Okay.
right and thin. We also love LG. We're quite agnostic. We love Sony also, really whatever the
Yes.
client wants. But for us, we're always looking for the brightest in bright room situations, because if you
course.
look up, Buzz, we've got skylights here. We have our showroom lights over here to the right, just to give everyone an understanding that, once again, televisions are best viewed in dark rooms.
Yes, they are.
Even without a mirror. But speaking of mirrors, there you go again.
There it is.
So,
And here we are once again.
and here we are once again, Buzz and Elizabeth back together again.
What could be finer, huh?
And the reality is as a design aesthetic in a home, black plastic on the wall, it works once in a while for super modern, striking contrast, but for a home that has softer, muted colors, not so good.
Okay.
I can say that we also have vertical portrait series, and this glass is more for a bathroom, spa environment. And again, over a mantle is pretty much a favorite spot, as you can see.
It is. I'm just going to ask one glass technical question. The difference in the glass that's for a bathroom, is there a certain type of glass?
There is. So basically, we don't even bother to put this television on because the transmission is not that great, but it's meant for bathroom. And these are the kind of things that started out in hospitality, where you went to a hotel and you saw the little TV coming through the bathroom mirror glass.
Yes.
So in this case, you can do the same thing in your bathroom or spa, but you really care more about the reflection. So this is higher reflectivity,
I see.
right? But lower transmission. Whereas this, which is our most significant standout in the mirror TV industry, is our water white reflection control glass. So this offers truly the highest television transmission. And yes, it has a coating. So people do ask me, what's the difference? Well, you cannot have a TV mirror product that is also a regular mirror. Obviously, there's silver on the back of that.
Yes.
And the nice thing about this mirror glass is that it's optical quality. So it is definitely the best quality mirror glass you really get, as well as TV transmission. And you can turn over here to this beautiful portrait, and you can see the glass is a slightly different color. And just
Yes, I
so
see that
you
now.
know, for hospitality, there's often budgets involved, so that is not water white. And you can see a sort of greenish tinge.
I do see that when I look up towards the ceiling.
Because the iron is not taken out. So really, there's pretty much three kinds of glass. I mean, everyone come up with variations on the theme, but essentially that's what we're talking about.
Well, I'm sure it would be a really interesting video to talk about all the differences in glass and how it's manufactured and the minerals that are in it. We'll do that at another time.
For sure.
Well, thanks so much.
Well, we're so glad you're here. And if you're interested in contacting Reflectel, read more about us in Buzz's video and writings.
Yes, at DelanoDNA, Delano News Advance, and on my YouTube channel as well. This will soon be here. Thanks, Elizabeth.
You're welcome.
There's mirror on mirror on mirror on mirror. There we go. Okay. Hi, Buzz.
Elizabeth, how are you? That was fun walking through the showroom, Design Center. What do you call it? Here is it?
A design center would be a good word, but we call it the showroom and workspaces because we are 8,000 square feet and we both produce here in New York City, which is pretty rare on its own for a maker to be producing in Manhattan.
Right.
But more importantly, or equally as importantly, is our showroom space, which has hundreds and hundreds of beautiful frames and scores of mirror TVs. So people can see the different orientations and how the light hits the glass at different angles.
How does it work when you meet clients, and what's the process to get them into the showroom? How does that usually go, or is almost every client relationship different in that sense?
Well, that's a really good question. These days, so many people are finding us online, which is kind of amazing. When you think about it, that's not how it used to be. So someone will hear about us in the design community, or an AV integrator will know about us. Or actually, I'm always surprised how many professionals are told by their client, because why? It's their house. They're Googling, this is what I want. I want a mirror TV. And then they see our product as compared to the others. And we're in New York City. So they're like, hey, go see this company.
Right.
So that's mostly how people find us. I mean, we're in Tribeca. It's a very sleepy part of New York City, so it's not like we're getting a lot of walk-by traffic.
Right.
I will say, though, we are in Los Angeles now.
Yeah, I'm excited about this. So tell me about it. I know the Southern California, the LA plan was in the works for a while. We talked about that maybe about 3 years ago when I saw you last here in New York. Tell us about LA.
Yeah, so I've always wanted to be in Los Angeles because that's probably, to me, the epicenter outside of New York City, where you're going to find a large congregation of people that are really design savvy. I mean, of course, they're all over our country.
Yes.
But the concentrations are high, just like in New York. And I have family out there. So I was like, this is a neat little, segue. So we were at High Point and someone saw us. This designer and her team found us, Cassandra Rafter, Canyon Creative Studio. So we are now at 6165 Santa Monica Boulevard.
Fantastic. Well, I know it well, having lived in the Los Angeles area for decades. Not so long ago, we relocated to Tampa, St. Petersburg, but I know the LA area really well. So that's a great space to be.
Yeah, I was actually surprised. I always thought of everything in LA as really new and glitzy. This is like a little gritty. And I mean, I hate to say that because it's like a little New Yorkish. I like it, but it was just, I think it's more just seeing heritage.
Yes.
So this is an old building with bricks. It's like, I've never seen anything like that in Los Angeles.
Well, we're definitely, LA architecture and buildings, they certainly don't go back as far as the buildings do in New York City.
Right.
But there is a lot of history in LA. And I'm glad you found a space that you're excited about, that's in the right area for the community that you're working with.
So if you want to hear a really funny story, you want to hear one?
Absolutely. Bring it.
So designer finds us in High Point, which is in North Carolina. Okay. Random enough. I want to be in LA. I'm manifesting. We're in LA. They are already giving us, they had an opening, blah, blah, blah. We've only been there about 4 months. They're submitting estimate requests and, we're fielding them. In our world, sometimes we've got a 1-year lead, a 3-year lead. So it's not really always ASAP, although we're good with ASAP.
Sometimes you have to be.
We are so happy we closed on a job with them. And guess where my California showroom has a job?
Near your studio, near your showroom.
In this building.
This building here in New York or in Los Angeles?
This building here in New York. How crazy is that? And like, meant to be.
Wow. So you open up in LA
Yes.
and you get a project that's in the building here in Tribeca. That is.
Yes, by Cassandra, the designer in LA.
See, everything starts in the West Coast, they say.
Well, I just think there's a lot of things that are interconnected.
There are.
Like you and I, we saw each other many, many, many years ago.
Right. Yep. And I noticed the Reflectel brand because I love design. I'm in the AV industry and I wanted to meet you. I wanted to see the space. Been in touch for a while. And things happen for a reason. Relationships, opportunities. But that is really fascinating. After all the time you've been here in New York, and you can talk a bit about the history maybe of the business. But all those years, you start in LA and the first thing you have happen is
Crazy.
a project in your New York location.
Isn't that nuts?
There you go. It's crazy. So how did all this begin?
So the good old origin stories. Framing, since I'm 24, been about 38 years in framing. You can kind of do the math. Started out just learning how to cut and join frames on a double miter saw. I had never held any woodworking tools in my hand or done anything. So I'm like on the job training. I'm a little panicked, but I know I have to succeed. And that's all I cared about.
You got to push through this.
Got to push through the field. So years go by, I'm now in fine art framing, art conservation and restoration, meeting all the right people because again, I'm here in New York. So in fine art framing, very high quality glass products exist, but a very rare few framers ever use them. Why? Because they're so expensive. So you really have to be working with significant art. So the glass salesperson selling us this really incredible glass, and it was amazing because it was reflection control, UV filtering, and shatterproof. Heavy as heck, made in Europe. Took way too long to get here. Americans are not that patient with.
No, we're not.
Not with framing. So long story short, made that relationship. Didn't really do a lot of that glass. Moved from Chelsea to here. Some years later, this same glass guy, who is incredible. I call him my glass guru.
There you go.
Shout out to Peter. Comes in with this Mirror TV glass and says, "Oh, Elizabeth, this is so great. I put it in front of Mirror TV." And I'm like, Peter, please. I frame Monets and Picassos. I'm not framing televisions. That's not interesting to me. He's like, no, I'm telling you, I'm going to bring a sample in for you. So he manages to get a sample. There apparently was some guy that was just slapping together 4 sticks of wood.
Somebody knew some guy, and here we are.
And then I saw the frame. I took it off immediately. I put on one of my beautiful gilded frames, and people started asking about it. So the funny part is, about 2 months later, after I'm like very hesitant, he's like, the Baccarat Hotel would like about 165, 170 of these Mirror TVs.
Oh my goodness.
Would you like to change your mind? And I was like, yes, Peter, I like to change my mind. And so here it is right behind us, this beautiful Baccarat in every suite in the New York City Baccarat Hotel by MoMA. And they love it. We love it. It's this gorgeous smoked oak. And it's portrait orientation. So that really is the origin story. And then, of course, I met integrators. I could name drop if you'd like.
Absolutely.
So the first AV integrator who comes my way is Neil Greenberg from Audio Interiors.
Audio Interiors. I've known Neil a long time.
So if you look at that thing down there, that is from another company, which I won't mention their name because they're nice folk. And his client said, get this off my wall. And I found this company that does beautiful mirror TVs. You can see how their glass is that green. Remember we were talking about that gray-green glass.
The transmission is not as nice.
Right. And it's not that lavender sort of purpley silver thing. Well, lo and behold, we were able to make a much more beautiful custom white lacquer frame. And that relationship was set. right now I'm working on a project with Neil where it is so big. It's like 100 and something by 100 and something. So
Wow. Is it a video wall?
no,
per
it's
se?
it's
'Cause
a
that's a trend
frame.
that's happening
Yeah,
now.
yeah, it is. And we're waiting to, possibly frame those if they need framing, because we also do the TV frames. So
Yes.
like the Ferrari.
We saw that in the walkthrough.
We saw that in the walkthrough, and we were very excited because it was very well received in the AV industry. And now we are starting to do more of those in leather because there's nothing better than bespoke.
That's very true. I'm so glad that the AV industry, I mean, for years, the AV and technology side, we've been talking about design, and it kind of in fits and starts. There's been events that sort of got design oriented. But it feels to me like in the last 3 or 4 years, it's elevated. There's more presence of design-oriented products and solutions, and there's more, it seems like design professionals are showing up at AV events a little bit more than previous. So I'm hoping that this trend continues because you want a nice home. Everybody wants a smart home, no matter what their living standard is, whatever city they're in, whether they're in a ranch home in Texas, an apartment here in New York City, or something like that. Everybody needs and likes technology. But at the same time, why not have it look really beautiful, whether it is having your speakers be invisible or your televisions be mirrors with beautiful frames on them?
So that's the key point. And I can say, being sort of in this industry for about 12, 13 years, I can tell you the trends that I've noticed indefatigably. First of all, technology is getting more and more concealed.
Yes.
So speakers, we talked about those little K-rays. If you love those macho big Mondo speakers, great. Magico or Steinway Lingdorf, love them. They're beautiful.
Yes.
When I go visit my friend Ed Gilmore, the sound just like, I don't feel like I'm worthy. I'm not even worthy of listening to that.
Here's a shout out to Ed at HT Global.
Yes.
And I saw Ed a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
He will also be appearing soon on Delano News Advance.
Well, anyhow, those are those big speakers. So, but the other trend, which is much more poignant, is the fact that decades ago, when I would talk to designers, who's your AV integrator? What's an AV integrator? And I was connecting integrators with designers. Now, what I'm finding is a lot of designers have integrators that, let's just say, the level of work they're performing in the home is higher than maybe the skill set of the integrator.
Understand.
And I'm often trying to match designers with the right integrator for the job. So I'm not like a matchmaking service here, but I really do try to connect people because it's no joke. I mean, AV is the nerve center of the home.
It is. Yeah. And it's more than just AV. That's why I'm referring to it. And the industry is referring to more as smart homes today, which of course, custom insulation. It began with speakers in the ceiling or the wall to get the boxes and the wires off the floor. And then it began to conceal large televisions and projectors in millwork. And then it became automated. And here we are with a whole smart home. And of course, the network is really the key. And then everything else rides on it. And you make a good point. There are a lot of products, physical hardware devices that are becoming more discreet.
Yes, that's the perfect word.
So, and for those type of components that still have to be, say, in a certain audio video receiver or even some of the streamers, there's some beautiful design products so that if you want them out on a credenza or something, they're going to look nice in the room. But there are so many more solutions that are either discreet, nicely designed, or easy to conceal or accent, such as what you're doing with televisions.
Right. And, in the world of television, there are different ways to hide TVs also. You'll see magazine articles like House Beautiful, 16 ways to hide your television. Curtains, I don't think so. But, they have things that go up and go down.
Right.
And you know what? It's really to each his own, the designer and the homeowner, whatever speaks to them. We like to always introduce the fact that not only does a mirror TV conceal your television, but especially here in New York City, where a lot of things have to have double duty, it both brings that mirror that bounces light around the home and conceals your television. So that's always a plus. I mean, you'll read almost any design article that almost every room should have a mirror. And again, in New York City, especially if you have a gorgeous view, why would you sacrifice over the mantle reflecting Central Park to have a television? It just makes no sense. And another article we're working on with a colleague of mine who makes ventless fire cabinets is the hearth, the center of the home, right?
Yes.
Not when the kids are watching TV all over the place and you don't want a TV, black plastic, over your main living room, great room space. Yuck. Hence, here comes Reflectel Mirror TV with TV concealments and other things. But I don't know if you want to quote me on this, but we like to say if it moves, it breaks. So that's why we think Mirror TVs are a sure bet.
We'll go with, a stationary item is definitely safer in a lot of ways, especially when you're doing what you do with them.
You're going to want to ask me one more question.
What would that be?
Long term, what happens if you want to replace the television?
Let's talk about what happens when they're ready to replace the television.
Right.
Because technology has changed, or they want something bigger and thinner.
Right. Well, there's only certain limits with where you can reuse. Like for the Baccarat, we help them with changing out. So everything we do here at Reflectel is reversible. There's no glues, there's no staples, there's no nails, there's no defacing the television. So everything unbuttons and rebuttons up. So that's what you call honest craftsmanship in the fine art framing world. Everything needs to have that reversibility. And we teach AV integrators all the time how to do this. And in fact, sometimes we have other AV integrators out in LA or Houston, and they don't want that 85 TV and the mirror and the frame. So we'll package it up for them with instructions and get a portable air compressor. And you can learn how to fit Mirror TVs. And we're always there to help.
Yes. You AV folks, you can do this.
They're very, very skilled, highly skilled.
There are a lot of us in that space that are very, very good at that. And I'm hoping that in the, every day there's more coming into this space that not only want to work with this technology, but that want to work with design and making things look really good to enhance the space. Not only to be functional with technology, but really make things complement the design of somebody's room, no matter what their living space is. Make it look nice. Why not? So I think if the design influence can reach further into the AV, the smart home industry, I think it's a good thing. And everybody wants it. And there's value in that too. If an AV integrator, a smart home type of business, understands design and is talking with their client about that and understands the etiquette of design and some of the language about it.
Great word.
It is going to elevate the value of what they're presenting to their client.
I have also noticed a trend, which is that they're diversifying their staff, having more women on team. And I just want to say, without getting too deep into any conversation, I think, you want a variety of people who think very many different ways, and also variety with people that can also, with design, you're not selling them. I always call designers, they're like cats. The more you want them, the more they're going to ignore you. And you need to be a certain kind of person. So an AV integrator, is maybe is good at that, maybe not.
Right.
And, you really want to have a staff that can really speak to the interior designer. That is so important. That would be like the one thing I would advise an integrator, have somebody on staff that is your designer liaison. And I know many of them. I know my colleague, Dave Reens from Osby, has an awesome person. It's not popping in my name right now, but she's so good. McLaren is her last name. It's Nicole. She's so good. She's so good. And you have to go to all these events. There are so many design events. You need to show your face. You need to start talking on panels. You need to get known.
Very, very true. You need to be part of that community.
Yes.
And you build a trusted relationship. And if you're somewhat new to it, you begin to pick up cues for the language and the conversation.
Yes.
And eventually you'll become a bit more of a natural within that community. Now that makes sense. That's really good. Yeah, I know Osby as a business. They're fantastic.
A lot of great top guys here in the city that we work with, shout out to, Audio Command Systems. They are also another big name. And actually some of the small guys like Tony Loizos, no one knows him. He's sold more Circle Mirror TVs out in Jersey. I'm like, hey, we love that. But we could have so many conversations. Thanking you for coming again and being in our space and talking with me. And I hope you'll come back. And if you want to talk about anything design and emerging with technology, we're here.
This would be a great place to do. Well, Elizabeth, it is a pleasure. Thanks very much. I've enjoyed this. And this is Buzz Delano with Elizabeth Goldfeder, Reflectel in New York City, saying goodbye from Reflectel in Tribeca. Bye.
Bye, guys.